town, yo. It's hella money in the town, yo. It's hella money in the town.
Welcome to Gambling Advisory. I'm your host, T-Town Gambling, and today we got another great channel. We got Love Struck Me. How you doing today, Love Struck?
Good. Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
So, Love Struck, how did you even get started on YouTube?
So it's kind of funny how I got started. It was just earlier this year, I was up at my local casino, which is A, about 15 minutes from my house, and I was playing a lot of card games. And I got on YouTube to try to attempt better blackjack strategy. And I started chatting. I was like, oh, people are leaving comments in some of these videos. Maybe the creator will respond to me with my questions. And I started engaging that way on YouTube. And then I started watching blackjack videos that Slotty D and Kelly from Slot 500 Club and Beyond Blackjack, they were responding to my comments on their videos. And then one thing led to another, and we were chatting offline. And then I was talking about, I don't remember who it was specifically who encouraged me to start a channel. But that's really where it started. I was asking about blackjack, and then all of a sudden I was like, I think I want to start a channel. And to be fair, everybody was very open with me about it. They're like, it's not easy. Here's what you should expect. Here's what you shouldn't expect. And I did it anyway. And I was like, I'm gambling, and if I can record it, let's just see what happens. I'm not gonna quit my job and make this my life, but it's already fun. So that's kind of how I got started.
So, as a gambler, do you play more table games than you do slots?
Not anymore. Now I play more slots than I do table games. And I was playing table games because my boyfriend really prefers that, and I wanted to spend time with him at the casino. So I was just sitting at the table with him more often. But I like the casual easiness of the slot machines, and he gets really bored with them. So I was splitting my time, but I was playing more table games before.
That's so funny because some people will be like, they like dedicated. They're like, no, you gotta play the tables. You gotta play tables. That's how you make your money. But so many people playing slots now. I don't know. Slots is just fun.
Yep. Well, and I mean, they're not wrong. If you look at statistics, every person who's done it will tell you that tables pay out better than slots. That's just a given. And I think most people, I'm not speaking for everybody, but the people I've spoke to, they like tables because your money does usually last longer and it doesn't feel as deflating so quickly. With slots, they are super fun, but your money does go quicker. So you have to decide where your comfort level is.
So going into kind of like in your background of gambling, how long have you been gambling for?
So, well, I mean, I've been gambling since I was on a casino floor when I was 21. That was the earliest you could be on a floor. But way back when I was just a tot, my grandfather was a professional poker player, and that's what he did for a living. Well, that's not entirely true. He did that for a living, but he also owned car dealerships, which he did for tax purposes. But anyway, so the minute that my sister and I were old enough to like sit up and do math and like articulate cards, he was teaching us how to play poker. So I've been playing poker for a long time. And I was playing poker in like a poker room probably when I was like 18 or 19 and 20. And then it just started to get to be too much. Like they get real serious in there, and it just wasn't fun for me anymore. So I stopped playing that. And then I didn't really go to a casino again I took a break after my early 20s until I was almost 30. Then I started going to casinos a lot more often. So for a while, I'm old now.
But it's kind of cool to see everybody started really kind of like at the age of, because some people's 18 and some people's 21. So it's kind of neat to see how long people has been gambling for.
Yeah, for sure. I've met people who just started doing it a couple of years ago, and they're older than me. I'm like, how did you manage that?
But you said gambling kind of ran in the family, right?
Yeah, it's definitely in my bones. Like I said, my grandfather's professional, and then my mom and my dad, I grew up with my parents going to Vegas for for adult trips, and my grandmother watching us. And my parents have always loved gambling. My mom likes it more than my dad. My mom will sit at a slot machine for hours and hours and just drink her little cocktail and be a happy camper. And my dad used to play table games, but now he plays slots with my mom. So it's definitely in my blood. My sister enjoys it too, but she doesn't get to go as often because she has a toddler. So it's definitely in our family.
That's pretty cool. Cause
Yeah.
it seemed like, I mean, maybe we just cracked it. Like people who like kind of grow up into gambling kind of start at the younger age because it looks fun. Like looking back, it looks so fun. Everybody just looked like they had a good time at the gambling hall, you know?
Yeah. Well, and to be honest with you, my grandfather teaching us how to play poker really helped with our math when we were younger, believe it or not. And it helped with learning how to strategize things, like using different parts of your brain. So while some people think it's dreadful and a sin, I think it actually kind of helps some of those different parts of our brains that we use regularly.
So
But I also love my grandpa, so maybe I'm partial.
what did you say?
I said I also love my grandpa, so maybe I'm partial.
Hey, I swear, grandparents are amazing.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, learn a lot. We learn a lot from, not saying we don't learn a lot from our parents, but it seems like grandparents just give sometimes that, I don't know, they kind of let us like gamble or something. So that's kind of cool. But
Yeah, yeah.
do you have any strategies that you feel like this is my strategy going into like the casino?
That's a good question. No. Well, yes and no. Maybe this isn't a strategy. You tell me if it is. When I go to a casino, I go with a limit, I go with a budget. And I'm like, I'm not going over this amount of money. It doesn't matter if it takes me 30 minutes to lose it or if it takes me 3 hours to lose it. So I think my strategy is just being able to control how much money I have in my hand and then playing games based off what my budget is. If I go with a larger budget, then I'm going to be more flexible and bet bigger. But if I'm going with a small budget, then I'm going to, stay with the low rolling and try to stretch out my money. So I don't know if that's strategy or if it's just something good to do, but that's the furthest part of my thinking I do once I get there. And then I'm overwhelmed with all of the buttons and the noises.
So do you ever like, you know how you drive into a casino and you thinking in your head, okay, let's say I'm gonna play Lightning Link. That's the game I'm gonna play. But then you get in there and you be like, you don't even play Lightning Link. So do you ever go in there? Well, I guess I don't know. I'm sorry. I think that's how I be thinking. But do you ever go in there thinking this is a game is you're gonna play?
Actually, yeah, I was chuckling when you said that because it happens to me every freaking time. So I go and I'm like, okay, I didn't get to play X game when I was there last time. I'm definitely going to play that right away when I get there if it's open. And then I get in there and I'm walking my little happy butt over there and then I get distracted by something else. And then eventually I don't even make it to the game that I wanted to play. So yeah, totally guilty of that.
I've seen it happen, and then like I've seen it happen. Then you see walk past somebody got a grand jackpot, and you like, man, should just
You're
went
like, I
with
gotta
my
try that.
yeah. It's just I don't know. It's kind of funny. I got into a conversation with somebody about that one time. I think. Do you feel like gamblers have squirrel moments?
Yes, so bad. Yes,
It's
I'm
so
guilty
funny.
of that for sure.
So,
And I'm easily deterred too. Like if I'm with somebody, they're like,
uh-huh.
"Oh, but I haven't tried this game yet. We should try it." And I'm like, "Okay." You know.
What's your favorite slot game?
Oh, that's such a well, I mean, anybody who knows me knows I love Buffalo Link. And it's a controversial love, right? Because so many people struggle with that game, but I just love that game. And believe it or not, knock on wood, it's actually brought me back up to the positive so many times when I've been losing. It's crazy.
It seems like
So
people who
Buffalo
play
Link.
that's kind of cool though because it is a hard game. It really
I
is.
know. I
But the
know.
wins, when you see people win on it, it's like I seen your recent video and you played Buffalo Link and you killed it. And I was thinking, how do people find these? How do people find these Buffalo Links that pay like this?
Well, I mean, you know better than anybody too that
Yeah,
I usually have some losing ones before I get there.
yeah.
But what I like about that game, I know that it's kind of volatile, but you can win like $20 off a 50-cent bet on one little, link. So I think there's so much potential with it. and everybody loves Buffalo. So, but I think second to that is Dollar Storm. That's my second, not any specific version, but just in general.
Man, you like the tough games. I'm
I
gonna just say that.
know. I know. It's my life. I look for challenges.
But hey, but if you winning on them, go for it. But I was like, those is like probably I think luxury line is probably in my opinion like the top tough slot
Oh,
machine. But
yes.
like Dollar Storm and Buffalo Link is tough. Like those
I
are some
know.
tough games. But hey,
I
if you can pull it off, then hey, I'm here for it. Because I think you're giving people hope. That's all it
know.
takes.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people who watch my channel, like I post my losing videos because you need to. It's important
Mhm.
people realize what the reality is. Like I'm not typically a high roller. Sometimes I'll get a little nutso and I'll bet high, and then my anxiety's going nuts in the background. No one knows that, um, but like I show my losing videos, and I have losing videos on Buffalo and Dollar Storm. But dang it, they keep calling me back like a siren, so I keep going.
So, where's your favorite place to gamble?
Well, my absolute favorite place to gamble is Spirit Mountain, which is now considered my home casino, which is in
Mhm.
Oregon. It's about an hour and 40 minutes from my house. But totally worth the drive. The staff there is amazing, and it's a beautiful casino. It's super clean in there. They've got a ton of the latest slot machines, and they have really good food options. So that's my favorite. The one that's 15 minutes from me I used to really like it a lot, but
Mhm.
I've had a hard time winning, so I just don't go there anymore. So of course I'm losing status because I don't go.
Host.
Yes, I have a host. Yep, I have a host. And so here, let me tell you a little secret about Spirit Mountain.
Uh-huh.
So it was probably 3 months ago I was there. Mike and I go there for a night once in a while because he likes to play the tables there.
Mhm.
And I want a hand pay. And I must have spent enough money leading up to that because once I got that hand pay, the host came over and introduced himself. I'm like, okay, obviously I met a tier status, which would justify a host. And then they reached out to me in August about doing a partnership with them.
Oh.
I don't know if you saw my latest video that I need to redo. It's not trending very well, but the Baccarat training was at Spirit Mountain in partnership with them. So I'm feeling very, very fortunate that they picked this little baby channel. And she's like, we like you because you're small and we like your personality. We like that you're local and we just love everything about what you're doing. So I'm actually going to be working with them quite closely to do some more marketing materials for them and for my channel, and to do some more live recordings and events with them. So that's how I think them giving me a host and then them pushing up my status is part of the partnership. It doesn't always work that way with every other casino, but you have to spend like a certain amount of butt time in casinos to get hosts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I thought it was based off how much money you're spending, right?
Uh-huh.
I just had this conversation with the Plaza in downtown Portland, who usually downtown Las Vegas, that usually hosts me. I was like, listen, my play is not the same as it was before. And she said, well, we're looking back at your play time and you only spent 3 hours and, or 2 hours or whatever it was in one day. And usually to keep your same comps, you need to be here at least 5 or 6 hours. I'm like, what? So I could be spending 50 cents a spin. As long as I'm sitting there for whatever it is, 5 or 6 hours, then I get the same comps instead of me spending, I don't know, let's say $1,000 in an hour and a half.
Mm.
It doesn't make sense. It's not right.
Yeah.
So there's,
That's very interesting.
I know, I was shocked by it. I was like, what? So I think the whole host thing's totally different with each casino and what their, regulations, expectations are.
Because I think most of us, like you said, you think, oh, you play your card and
Mhm.
like let's say it's a 100,000 to get to the top card. We automatically assume that's how we get a host.
Yep.
But some people who don't even have hosts and they're like, I'm not gonna say the top, but maybe right underneath it. Because I've been right underneath that card and they said I still didn't qualify for a host.
Which is so weird because
Mm.
you that doesn't make sense to me. You should ask them. You should ask them when you're there. Like, what does it
Mhm.
take to get a host? Do I have to get my first hand pay? Do I have to have a certain amount of points? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
But the longevity sounds pretty good though, because I've heard that too. Like I'm gonna say like Hard Rock, our local.
Hmm.
It's a lady, she used to play nothing but 50 Cent. I mean, she will sit on Ocean Magic all night long and only pay 50 Cent. And she will get everything that like the top tier people get.
Really? I
Yeah,
think it's because she was sitting there for so long. That's what I think. I'm not sure, but based off what I just learned, I think it's because she was sitting there for so long.
that's pretty interesting.
Hmm. I don't
So,
think it's the same everywhere, but I think it's a good question to ask your local people.
but you say you're from Washington. Is it
Yep.
then Washington's just started kind of getting the link games or some of the link games?
So Washington has not gotten the link games yet.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
they have what we're famous for up here is that what is that? Triple Dragon Fortune.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're famous up here for. Now, Oregon, literally, so I'm like 15 minutes from the Oregon border. If you go to Oregon and any of the casinos over there, they have the link games. But well, let me be more specific. I'm kind of not being so when I say link games, I'm not correct in saying that the ones up north do have like Lightning Link and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, but they don't have Dragon Link, which is huge. So, but the Oregon side does have Dragon Link and like, Dollar Storm and Lightning Link and all of those. But Buffalo Link and Dragon Link are not in Washington yet.
Oh, okay.
Ah, me
So
too.
how frequent do you get to go to Vegas?
Oh my gosh. I have been to Vegas more this year than I have in a long time. So so the other challenge with me starting my channel was that I didn't have any local casinos that would let me record. And the only way to build my channel was to go to Vegas to get content, which is why I built such a good relationship with Plaza because they hosted me there and gave me a bunch of free play to start off. And then I just started my status was growing, which is why I kept going there. So I was going to Vegas probably once a month, which was starting to get exhausting and
Mm.
expensive. you know um but now I think my biggest gap was 2 months this year between each visit, and that happened once. But I'm not planning on going to Vegas for the rest of this year because I just need a break.
So do you feel like now that you're a slot channel though that it's a different experience when you go to Vegas?
Absolutely, absolutely. And well, just gambling in itself is a different experience. And I've shared this with many people who I've become friends with in this community. But, before when I was gambling, it was fun and it was something I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have the income to be able to do it. And I just got to hang out and have a couple drinks and do my thing. And now that I have a channel, it's turned into, not a business, but well, kind of a business, but more like the enjoyment's changed. For example, the week I was there for G2E, I was in Vegas for 6 days, and that was way too long for me. And by the last day and a half, I was so burnt out on being in a casino, but I was also challenged with knowing I needed to get more content. So I was battling myself to be away from the casino versus getting content because I flew there to get some. And then it just doesn't, is it just, it starts to weigh on you and it's not as fun, right? And you don't want that to be projected in your videos.
Mm.
So, I have to put myself in check quite a bit and make sure I'm projecting the positive energy that I want people to see in me and not the burnt out energy that you get when feel obligated to get content because you have a channel now instead of just walking away like you would have before.
So how long have you had your channel?
Just since February of this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
you doing good.
Thank you. I'm pleasantly happy with how quickly things have evolved and shocked, to be honest with you, completely shocked.
Wow, you doing good. Then,
Yeah.
hey, congratulations. You made it
Thank
over to
you.
1K and everything.
I know. I didn't expect it at all. I kept getting a lot of advice and they're like, don't expect it until the first year. I'm like, no problem. I can level set myself. And I'm just really lucky to have excelled the way that I have. That's for sure.
Have you expanded out on any other social media platforms?
Yeah,
other than YouTube?
I've got Instagram and Facebook. I do have TikTok, although admittedly, I'm terrible about remembering to update TikTok. Terrible at it. And then I did have a Snapchat, but I'm even worse with Snapchat than I am TikTok. So I don't usually, I pay more attention to Instagram and Facebook than the other social channels.
Do you feel like it's a lot trying to keep
Yeah.
all that?
Yeah, I don't know how like my friends with these huge channels do it. I was telling Mike that the other day. I'm like, babe, can you help me answer some of these comments? And I'll tell you what to write. I just need you to type them for me, just to so that I'm responding to folks. And I said, not, not on YouTube, but like on Facebook or Instagram. He's like, I don't want to do that. I was like, I need help. Like I can't do it all myself.
Yeah.
Um,
Now
but it's a
people starting to double live, like dual live stream. So
I know. Oh my gosh. I can't even. I'm not anywhere near there. I'll tell you that. Like, I'm not even thinking about doing that because that just overwhelms me.
yeah, because people's nowadays people's going live from TikTok, and then they getting TikTok to come to YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, guys, that's some strong. That's strong because that's a lot of social media at one time.
Yeah, and I mean, I pride myself on being a very organized person, and I can multitask with the best of them. But to me, that's just overwhelming. And I'm like, listen, I'll just grow the way that I should be growing, without driving myself up the wall.
Mhm. But it's fun. Are you enjoying it though? Are you enjoying the YouTube atmosphere, if you will?
Yes, I am very much so. I tell this, to my family a lot too, because my family is so incredibly supportive, and I think they were kind of shocked at how fast it grew too. Because I had this what they called a harebrained idea one day over dinner, and then it turned into this whole thing that I'm in now. And I have a really good time. It's rare. I mean, I'm still human, so I have moments where I feel overwhelmed and feel like I need to create more balance between my life and YouTube. And I try to do that in a healthy way. But I can't, it's hard to articulate how grateful I am for the friendships that I've made. And some of those have turned into family. And, I would not have seen some of these other casinos if I had not been in this journey. So I'm, I'm, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I mean, I'm super tired sometimes, but I love it.
Is there any advice? Because you've done really good. If you just started in February and you're well over 1K now.
Yeah.
Is there any advice you can give to somebody who's just starting a YouTube channel?
Yeah. I mean, my advice would be at the end of the day, no matter what, don't let other people influence who you are. Just be who you are. That's the most important thing. If you're genuine and you represent you as a whole, then people will either like you, or they won't. But and don't be disappointed if it doesn't move as fast as you want it to. It takes time and it takes effort and it takes, a thoughtful plan, and it takes supporting everybody in the community that helps support you. So don't quit your job and expect to make YouTube fame, overnight. Just take your time and be you, and it'll all fall into place.
Okay, some fun questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to go on a dream vacation, where would you go?
Oh my gosh, my dream vacation would be, it's so hard to choose which one. Probably Greece. So my dad is Greek, and we've got some family over there, and I still have never been there. So my dream vacation would be Greece for sure. And then right after that, it would be Egypt.
Oh, Egypt.
Yeah, I really want to see those pyramids before Mother Nature decides our whole planet collapses.
Wow, this thing, yeah. Ooh, the desert.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I mean, it's
sounds.
hot, but
Be sweating to get to
exactly.
the tombs and stuff. So
Yeah.
just on a day without gambling, what is the perfect day?
So the day without gambling, the perfect day. So I've got two dogs whom I love to death. And they're my life. My kids are in college now, so my dogs are my life. So the perfect day would be waking up, going to the dog park, getting our coffee, their puppuccinos, and then going to the beach for the day with Mike would be the perfect day, no matter what the weather, because the dogs love the sand. I like to just sit there and smell the fresh air. I like to get clam chowder, and I just like to appreciate the area I live in, you know?
If you could gamble at any, if you can gamble anywhere, where would you gamble?
T-Town, that's a hard question because I'm sure I don't know about a bunch of places. Oh, you know what? People are going to totally judge me for this, and that's all right. I want to go to Atlantic City.
Mm,
Not, I know I hear it's dirty and it's kind of run down, but my family's from the East Coast. My dad's from New York, and we've got my grandfather had a whole bunch of stories about stuff he got into, good stuff, while I was in Atlantic City. And my heart just really wants to go there and kind of experience what my grandfather always told me about growing up.
hey, it's a lot of great channels out there, you know? You got to go out there one time.
I know. I really want to go. Well, and I talked to NJ over the weekend when we were at G2E, and he's like, "You let me know when you come to Atlantic City." I'm like, "Okay."
So do you play those old school machines? Since you said NJ?
Ah, yes, only once in a while, and it's really just because my other grandfather on my mom's side of the family loved them, and so I like to take a few minutes to spend. I do some spins on there for him, but I'll be honest with you, they're not exciting for me,
Mm,
so I get bored really fast with them.
yeah, I think some, yeah. It seems like you can win really good on them though.
I know, that's why I try them, because I'm like, oh, this will be the one time I win. But then I'm like, dang it, only 3 reels and the line has to be perfect. I'm like, this is hard. And here I am saying that, and I play Buffalo Link. I see the irony, but um, yeah, I just get bored with those.
Yeah, but Buffalo Link got color, you know? I get it.
Yeah, it's just more exciting.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't play that I should play, but I do support channels who do, are those red screens, because
Hmm.
I'll be honest with you, the sound drives me absolutely nuts. Oh
No,
my God.
that's my land.
The red screens?
Yeah, that's my land.
Oh, how do you do it? Some of them look really cute,
Hmm.
but I'm like, the red screen drives me nuts.
It just you don't hear it. I mean, listen, we're from Oklahoma. We don't hear none of that anyway, because
Probably
it's a
don't.
lot going on anyway. But it just becomes the sound of the casino. We always say if you don't hear the ringing, then it's not paying. So
Yeah, that's true.
you want to hear the ringing. But I get it. Like I get it. Like people who's not from or have never really just played those type of machines. I can understand where the ringing would drive someone nuts.
I just think to give them more a chance. I know I do, because you're probably right. I think it's like anything. Eventually, you just don't recognize the sound, you
Hmm.
know?
Top 5 slot channels.
Oh, T-Town.
I love it. I love the question because I love hearing who people like.
That's
Because
a,
you know,
yeah. Top five.
yeah,
Oh
top 10,
man.
top 10.
I mean, I probably do. I probably do, because, and here's why. Because I've established relationships with them, right? And so I look at them, I look at them differently probably, but do you want me to list them?
Yep. Go ahead and
Okay.
tell it. Go ahead and tell
Okay.
us.
All right. So my top, oh my gosh. Okay. So of course I've got Slot 500 Club and Beyond Blackjack. I've got, Debbie Loves Slots, Slotty D, the Yoshi family, Yoshi Slots. I do actually really like watching Lady Luck HQ a lot. Um, let's see, who else do I watch? I do watch NJ now more frequently, and it's not just because I've met him and I really like him as a person, but because it does do me some good to watch some other channels that do play those old school games and appreciate what you can get from them. Um, I do like let me see, what are my other channels? I like to keep up on my gosh, Slots Mista I like, because she's freaking funny. And
Hilarious.
like, I like to go to her channel because I need that humor and that balance in life. Let's see, who else do I go to? I go to and then I like some of the larger ones, that that are starting to get bigger. Like I do like TL Slots. I think they're great. And then what else do I watch quite frequently? I know there's a couple more that I watch pretty actively. Like Barbara playing slots. She's a small channel, super sweet. So I watch her quite a bit. I like channels that are just who they are. They don't try to, they don't try to be different.
Yeah.
I know that there's more. I spend so much time trying to go to all these channels and support everybody.
I just like that question because I think sometimes, like, I'm always curious to see, oh man, because I'll go back and, look at whatever somebody say. Like, if you say, like, oh, Barbara's really good, I'm like, oh, let me go check out Barbara. So I like
Mhm.
to ask people that during the interview, just kind of, because some people never heard of some channels that people like.
Yeah, like Slotaholic is another one, Josh and Joseph, some of the nicest people in the whole world, and I watch theirs regularly. You know what I like about them? I don't know if you watch Slotaholic, but
Mhm.
what I like about all of the work that Josh and Joseph put into that channel is that they do these cool like challenges for themselves, because he likes to go and have a purpose when he's gambling, and it comes out in these really cool things that he produces. So I love that channel, and not just because they're great, but because he was really creative in the way that he delivers his content.
Yeah, he's different. Like,
Yeah.
very nice guy too. But
Nope.
Tino, what is some of your biggest wins at the casino?
So some of my biggest wins. So this is the fun parts. My biggest one I ever had that I first got was last October, my son's 21st birthday. We were in Vegas, and I won over $11,000 on one of the on the Buffalo game. What is that game? The spinning fortunes. You know which one I'm talking about? It's
Uh-huh.
got the four screens, yeah, and the wheel up top that spins. So I won. It was a $4.80 bet, I think. I put $20 in the machine to kill some time while my son wrapped up what he was doing. And I got a crap ton of free games and got all 15 gold buffalo heads,
Oh,
and won
wow.
18, or excuse me, won just over 11,000. And
Holy
then
cow.
yeah, it was it was phenomenal. And at the time I didn't know I could record at the D. And so I've got just really choppy bits of it on my channel that people can see. Um, on the same note though, I've actually gotten 15 gold buffalo heads 4 times now, 3 times, 4 times, something like that. Before I was recording them, of course. And then after that, my next biggest hit was when I won that major at the High Limit Major at the Plaza, and that was over 8 grand. And then my biggest one though yet is the one I just won at Kushada, which was over $16,000 on that spinning, or was it Glorious Fortunes game with a $2.40 bet.
Dang.
I know. So
Oh.
my jackpots, except for that first one, have all been under five. Well, actually, all of them have been under $5, but those other two were like 250. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You don't have to bet big to win big.
That's what I'm saying. I think
That's
those are such the most satisfying jackpots.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And you just don't think it can happen. And then you're like, wait, what? What? I remember when it was counting up. Well, the $11,000 one, I remember it was counting up. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and my son was a little bit tipsy, as he should be. He's 21 in Vegas. But my partner, he was really tired, ready to go back to the hotel where we were staying. And every time I got more coins,
Hmm.
because I don't remember. I want to say it was like 80 free spins or something like that, 80 spins. Every time I get more coins, he's like, oh, that's great. Like he was happy for me, but he was like over it. So by the time we got to the 11,000, I was like, babe, honest to God, look what happened. you know, but yeah, so it's been fun. And I know that, with those highs comes those lows. So I've been very, very fortunate this year. And I hope someone else has the same fortune coming up for them too.
When you won a 16,000, I think was you the one who kind of was having like a hard time winning?
No.
Was you with Debbie and them?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. So my trip to Kushada leading up to that was not so great. Like it was I just couldn't get ahead. Like everything I was hitting, like I would get bonuses, but not enough to like get me extra money. Um, and then I was on my way to my room because I needed to put myself in a timeout. I was starting to get frustrated and I didn't want to project the frustration to people or the machines. So I on my way to the room, I was stopping by to say that I was going to go take a break to Debbie and Josh, and they were playing a game. And I was like, you know what? Here's this game Debbie won $1,000 on. I'm just going to try it for fun. Here's, you know, I don't even remember how much money I had in there. It was not very much. And then it was 4 spins later that pick feature came up. And I wasn't recording because I was in kind of a crappy mood. And then the grand hit. And so Josh thankfully was there and he captured as much as he could.
And they was like, just watch out for her, your big win. But you was like talking about how your luck was like, you know, like your luck wasn't so good, and then you had hit this grand. I don't remember, like I'm trying to remember, but I remember like that's how I knew about it. I remember kind of like them saying like on a live stream you was having a rough time, and then you hit whatever. So
maybe it was Debbie's live stream. Debbie was talking about it on her live stream. And I was fortunate that someone was there to capture it because, you know, it's the one time you're not flipping recording that you win your biggest jackpot ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a rough go until that happened. And then I had some pretty decent luck after that, but I found myself like, I'm a person, I always dream in my head. I'm a big dreamer and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I take this much money, I'm going to bet these big bets because I have all this extra money. So I won this jackpot. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I should try those big bets and, you know, be risky. But then I get to the machine. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel good to do it though.
Yeah.
You know,
like
I chicken out.
So that's a good question. Like, do you feel, you say you take a smaller amount, do you feel like you do better though with a smaller amount compared to if you took, like you say, take a larger amount?
You know what? I actually do. And it's because my smaller amount keeps me more controlled. If I take a larger amount, then I feel like I have more flexibility to be a little more loose with what I'm betting. Now, don't get me wrong. There are videos where you see me bet like $10 a spin or $12.50 a spin. And there's a lot of anxiety happening in those spins, but I'm obviously up and I want to take a couple of those risks, but it's not normal for me to do that. So I almost prefer to take a smaller bankroll. And then I'd have to make the conscious decision to get more money if I wanted to bet more, you know?
Do you think you will ever bet $250?
Oh, well, I mean, I would do it if the casino gave me money to bet with.
Hey, you get a sponsorship. Maybe I'll do it one day whenever they get
Right?
a
That's what I'm
high
hoping.
dollar machine.
That'd be fun. That'd be super fun. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I just can't relate to people who bet $250 a spin.
That's crazy.
You know, like good for them, but like I just don't, the excitement's different for me because I can't relate to it. But someone who bets like $12 a spin, I can relate to that because I've done it, you know. So the excitement is there for me. But you know, cheers to people who can, for sure.
So closing out the interview, is there anything new coming to Love Struck Gambling?
Well, yes. My 1,000 subscriber live that I did a matching program where I gave away 3 $50 Amazon cards, and then I matched $50 to one of like, I don't remember how many, I think there was like 7 different nonprofits, and I donated $50 to that nonprofit to match the winner. Which I need to post on my community page so everybody knows where that money went. So I'd like to do more of those types of things where I want to give back a little bit to my channel, but also match those with other nonprofits. And then my roller derby actually starts back up in November finally. So I'll be adding some roller derby stuff to my YouTube channel.
Do you want to briefly tell people what roller derby is for people that might not know?
Sure. So roller derby is a sport that dates back a while, usually done by women. In the past, it was on a curved track, but now they do flat track roller derby. And it's basically just 6 people on each side trying to to pass. There's one jammer that passes that tries to pass the group of people to get points. So you just skate around this track and try to get points, is the 1,000-foot level description of what it is. I am not a jammer, I'm a blocker, because I got hips and stuff. So I'm best utilized in that space than I am as a jammer. But it's typically done in a safe environment. There's, just like any game, any sport, there's penalty boxes, and there's rules and regulations that are heavily added to those for safety. But I've been doing it for a while. My derby name is Vixie. And you should start seeing some clips of that coming up in the next month or two, with us starting back up on the team.
That's pretty cool. When you told me that when I met you, I was thinking, that is, like, I've heard about it, but I was thinking, I've never met anybody who did roller derby. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
Oh, thank you. I'll
like,
tell
wow.
you, it gets harder when you get older, man. Like, when I get hit real hard, it takes a little longer to heal, but the community itself is incredible. It's very empowering as a woman to be in a sport like that. And it encourages really good self-reflection and self-worth for young girls who are struggling to figure out, what kind of sport they want to do. And they give a lot back to their communities. So I'm honored to be a part of a larger movement with roller derby. And there's a lot that people don't know about it. It's super cheap to go. You can get a cheap hot dog and a cheap beer and enjoy some good sport.
Hey, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Make sure you guys go check out Love Struck Gambling on all social medias.
Yes.
Make sure you subscribe, guys. Subscribe to her YouTube channel, okay? You don't want to miss what she got coming up. And also, if you're not subscribed to Gambling Advisory, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss interviews like this. Okay, guys. Thank you. Peace. On to the next one.
Boy, go get some cake around the town, boy. And it's enough to go around, elevating in the town, yo. It's hella money in the town, yo. It's hella money in the town.